while you're fumbling to still get ready.
Which means...
It's Megan with Stephanie. And it's already 5:02 and I didn't set the timer. You got to unzip it too. I'm making it harder on you.
I'm making it harder on myself. Of that, here's that square one again. See if I can pick a different one. My hand is too big to get in this.
Don't even tell me.
I think I picked this 152 times.
I'm going to cry right now, but it's all right. So this one is Al May, Skip the Gym. Woohoo! Okay, well, now we're going to go on pace. You guys totally got cut short. My damn thing erased. I got to go back and do it.
This is the second day in a row that's happened. There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 11:05 on IE Newswire, both on Facebook and
on YouTube. Make sure you go and hit that like and subscribe button and share us all over your media platforms.
Wow.
Or else I will come and find you. I'm just kidding.
No, I wouldn't necessarily bet against that.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing really.
Okay.
Of that. Man, well, we had the big vice presidential debate yesterday on that. Pelosi's make some noises, man. I mean, we know Joe Biden.
Okay, who's all voting for the fly? Type in.
Yes. They had to do that because what else could they have come up with? Because
honestly, so I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was running.
No, you didn't watch. You weren't riveted to the vice presidential debate.
Anyways.
I'll give you a pass on that because most people weren't.
Well, I was going to, and then you didn't share it, and then I had to go pick up my kids. I mean, priorities, you know. Anyways, all I heard about was the fly. That's the only thing.
And the red eye.
Oh, and the red eye. And the red eye. That was it. I mean, I saw people on my own stuff kind of bashing some people, but that's all I really heard about.
That.
So how'd it go? Give us a recap.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that in a bit. NBC got caught manipulating the town halls. You know, I don't know how you can buy what's been the once dominant media of that. At least back in the day, they used to have some sort of credibility. They have none now, and we'll get into that. We'll give you an update on the assembly members, Kevin Kiley and James Gallagher, which are taking Gavin Newsom to court on his executive orders, and you heard Kevin Kiley preview that hearing on Tuesday that they had yesterday. We're waiting for results, but they think it was, we'll give you what Kevin posted on his blog. Maybe we'll get a ruling tomorrow on that to see which way the judge is going to go, whether he's going to rule one way or the other on the preliminary deal or send it to trial. So we'll have that.
Neon Love Machine writes in on YouTube, almost on Facebook. So the fly was interviewed, and he no longer wanted to live in Kamala's skirt anymore. That's a good one.
Oh, man, I wish it. Well, I mean, that was a good one. We'll segue into that. We're going to have Susan Shelley on. And Jennifer, yes, on that longtime guest, and Jennifer Van Laar will also join us later on in the hour on that. I want to pick up on that since Neon the Love Machine wrote that up on the old YouTube comments, and comment in and give us some feedback on what we're doing. But I said Kamala, she wouldn't be where she's at. Well, let's just put it this way. Kamala swallowed her way to a political career.
They're going to say she swallowed the fly. It's going to be sad.
Well, that's kind of what I was referencing. Maybe it was stinking down there in Kamala's skirt, and that's why it flew up and spread on Mike's head.
Wow, you people.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong. She wouldn't have been nowhere. She wouldn't have had a political career if she wouldn't have been the girlfriend of Willie Brown. That started her.
I thought she wasn't girlfriend. I thought she was like a mistress or something.
Well, yeah, call mistress, whatever you want to call
Girlfriend's
it.
a better
Hoe.
title.
Hoe is what I call it.
Well, that's not a girlfriend. You can't do girlfriend and hoe
Well,
together.
I mean, that's what it
I mean, a girlfriend
basically.
can act like a hoe.
Tell
which I
me
think
what
most men want, but way different. Just saying.
Tell me, I mean, he was married at the time. It was obvious, and Willie Brown had the reputation while he was assemblyman and that he was blanking everything that walked, in his political or in his career. And then when she gets up to vice president and people bring it up, she's trying to run from it. Again, I would have some respect for her if she said, yeah.
That's embarrassing, though. I think that would be hard. I don't know. But she should admit
But
to it.
then
She
go
should just-
telling the women that if we're empowered and we're doing it on our abilities. Well,
Is it
yeah.
bad as a woman that I don't like the woman empowerment?
What do you mean?
Like when women say that, like it's Women's Day, I think it's stupid.
Yes.
Is that bad though?
Well,
I feel like I'm letting women down, but I don't think we need a day. I mean, we're the freaking year. Why do we need one day?
yes. You control
I
everything.
think women
as it is.
should know how much power they already have. They just don't use it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I keep asking, why do you want to bring yourselves down
It makes
to our
me.
level?
I know it makes me sad when we need to rah women. No,
Yes.
chick, we're already rah.
Yeah.
I switched my word right there. Should be proud.
But then don't go around saying or castigating the chicks. What was his name? The producer, that had the chicks on the casting couch to give them the parts to get the shows because they wanted to be movie stars. So they slept with whatever his name was. Heck, what's that guy's name? That was the movie producer. Gosh, it's slipping my head. Anyway, they're getting
Crap.
They
First
were
one
on
to
his
type in.
They were on his case all along.
What is
that.
it? That's gonna drive me. Insane.
Yes, now it is that. But I mean, they're okay. We're all running him down because he did that, yada yada yada. And here's Kamala doing the same thing to get her political career. And I think she demonstrated it exactly. She has no talent. She couldn't get her off the ground in the primaries. She ran for president. The only way is because California, most voters have their head up their rear end, and they've been electing people like Kamala Harris and stupid idiot hair gel. You're going to die when you see the
Weinstein. Thank
yes,
you, Joseph.
Weinstein on that.
You win.
Yes. Thank you,
I don't
Joe.
know why you win, but you win something.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, on that. Yeah, Weinstein of that. No, it is. And I mean, she proved it last night. We've been going on. Trump, the Obama-Biden administration basically had the kibosh on fracking, which is where they go down, hydraulically drill, blow it out, the rock structure underneath the shale rock so they can extract the natural gas that's sitting there. Obama and Biden had that shut down. Biden's been against it for years, said we would never be energy independent. Trump came in, made us energy independent, mainly on fracking. North Dakota did it on the deal in the financial crisis, and they never suffered. They were the one state that never suffered any economic impact. Plus, they rebuilt their state banking system against Biden and Obama, which basically nationalized our banking system. I think 5 banks now hold 90% of the banking in the United States. Tell me that's you don't hardly have a community banks or any local banks or state-run banks. They rebuilt their state banking system, did fracking. They were paying. Walmart was paying in excess of $20 an hour plus for employees. They were needing people so much in one of the deepest recessions, as Joe Biden calls it, across the board. But we're going to run the first clip. This is Kamala Harris while she's running for president earlier this year on there. So here we go.
My family lives in western Pennsylvania, where fracked gas wells have become a common sight. Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
That was put up by Trump on the deal and on
My
his
family lives
on
in
his
western
Twitter.
Pennsylvania, where
again.
fracked gas wells have become a common sight. Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
So there you go. there was that, and we're going to read a little bit from the New York Post article on this, where this fracking got a lot of airplay during the vice presidential debates Wednesday night as Mike Pence claimed Biden administration would ban the practice. Biden's running mate Kamala Harris fiercely pushed back on the suggestion. I will repeat, and the American people will know Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That's a fact. That is a fact. Her comments drew the ire of President Trump, who weighed in on Twitter on his own record on fracking. The president posted a clip, which appeared to be a town hall event, which she said there was no question she was in favor of fracking. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris both want to ban fracking, Trump wrote. Fracking, and then goes on to do that about that. It says Biden's time was, is that, but in the March Democratic primary debate, he said, no more new fracking. Then Bernie Sanders said he would end the practice in order to combat global warming. Biden's campaign said he meant wouldn't allow federal land drilling leases. No, he said no more new fracking. Him and Obama were against it. The whole time he was 8 years as vice president, so he has been against fracking. He's only doing that because he knows that will kill Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Dakota, a lot of places where this is, and there are states he almost essentially has to have to win. So he's trying to play the political game on this. So we want to play it. This is a clip at the vice presidential debate. This is at, God, roll number 4 up, please. Is that the most smug look you've ever seen on a woman?
I mean, she just looks like she has her eyes closed and she might have farted. But I don't think it's really smart.
Maybe she sharded her pants like Nadler. Here's the question at the debate. Kamala Harris. Here we go.
The Green New Deal. That he does not support the Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal as a crucial framework. What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not.
Joe Biden didn't grow a job in his freaking life. Tell me the job that Joe Biden was responsible for, ever. Governments do not create jobs, the private sector does. The government sucks off the teat of the people and the private sector. They either get the money out of your paycheck or they collect it from the businesses and they pass it on to the government. The government has no money. They create no jobs. The jobs they have are because of the private sector and the working people of America. Period. You idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Plus, you heard her say it twice. Joe Biden is not for fracking. Joe Biden said at the debates he was for fracking. He was not for fracking, for banning fracking. And then he tries to tiptoe it. His administration when he was vice president was 8 years of eliminating that and saying we would never be energy independent. And Trump would never succeed at this. And here you go. It's 100% on the deal. How can you believe anything across the board that woman says? In her own, she said she would ban it in the first day in office. Then she's saying Joe Biden wouldn't ban it when Joe Biden said he would ban fracking in March at the primary debates. I mean, it was great that Mike Pence called her out on it. And I mean, the rest of the thing. And I will tell you this, the whole Flygate, Red Eye Gate on Mike Pence, the reason the dominant media, and it's all over Twitter and social media of that, is because Mike Pence cleaned Kamala Harris's clock in that debate. 100%. She looked smug. She looked arrogant, as she did of the whole thing of that. But to discuss this and her latest columns are going back and forth, we're going to have her longtime guest on. She's the editorial writer in the Press Enterprise, Sabardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, and Redlands Daily Facts. Vice President of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, and all around great analysis. Susan Shelley, welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy.
Well, thank you, Roy. Hi, Steph.
I don't. One of the things that's just irked me the whole thing is we've heard for decades since the 70s America would always be dependent on foreign oil, foreign energy, yada yada yada. Trump when he reduced the regulations on fracking and got us going, not only has made us energy independent, but made us a net energy exporter, which almost every expert said would never happen.
That's true.
And you heard Harris sit there and lie about her position, about Joe Biden's position, because they know they got to have Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and a lot of places where fracking is a lot. There are tens of thousands, if not 100,000s of jobs that depend on that. Not only is the United States depending on this, and the reason we're able to have a more powerful position in the world and able to renegotiate bad contracts with trade agreements with China and NAFTA and GATT and all this stuff. And she sits up there and lies about it 100% to the American people. What do you say, Susan Shelley?
Well, I think fracking is the best thing that's happened to world peace and the world economy. People don't even think about that. They think, oh, it's the climate. All we're going to talk about is fracking and the environment. But if you think about the full impact of American energy independence, we can help our allies in Europe when they're threatened by Russia. We can help Japan when it's threatened by North Korea. We can help all the countries in the Middle East be free of the tyranny of OPEC. We can help the world be peaceful because we are the energy backup. We're like the battery backup for the whole world, a rational source of business-friendly energy that's always going to be there for you. And these candidates on the Democratic side want to take away that security for the whole world. They want to ban fracking. They want to make the United States an importer of energy again, which will empower some of the worst governments on the planet to torture and essentially hold everybody else hostage to their demands because we can't be without their energy. We have our energy. We don't need their energy. Anything that destroys that new paradigm of world peace based on American energy dominance is dangerous. It is dangerous to the world. And the Democrats don't even acknowledge that. They should absolutely not, they should not be in power. They are dangerous.
I've said this, and I think you pretty much reiterated what I've said. I said the single most important thing across the board that Trump did was do the fracking and made us not only energy independent or energy exporter. I've had Tom Del Beccaro and many other, Isaac Kite, and a lot of big foreign policy experts on that saying the same thing. Most people don't realize the impact and the reason Trump has been able to do this stuff, and our standing in the world has went up I don't know how many times of that, gives us a much better powerful position on negotiating everything for the people of the United States just because of that one act.
Right. It's fracking, and it's also opening up other public lands to drilling and making mining available again, and just generally opening up the possibility that if there's trouble in the world, we have reserves here. We have reserves of energy, and we can protect everyone. And just that knowledge prevents the kind of trouble that we used to see not so very long ago when we were afraid and afraid and afraid to offend these different countries because they had control of energy, not just for us, but for Europe and Japan. So this is a really important change.
I want to get to your column because this is another thing. I mean, my messages, did you see this? Getting phone calls across the board. My dad has been dead for 10 years and they're sending me a mail-in ballot. I'm getting people who haven't lived in this house since 2003, and then people who've lived in it in 2010. I'm getting mail-in ballots sent to my home, and they haven't lived here in 10, 15, 20 years, and on and on and on and on the stories since voting is starting in California and everything. I mean, I'm blowing it up. I'm seeing it all over the place. These stories going on. Like I say, in a legit election, I think Trump wins this as big as he did in 2016, if not bigger. But this whole mail-in ballot voter fraud deal just has me an uneasy feeling, Susan Shelley.
Well, this is a real mess. This happened because the governor issued an executive order saying every county must mail a ballot to every voter for this election. And that probably would have been thrown out in court because it was not a COVID-related of emergency action. So the legislature rushed in and they passed a law, which the governor then signed, to do this same thing. So it did not have a lot of hearings. They didn't do a lot of work with the counties to see if it was even possible. And here we are. The counties have their voter roll lists, which were never intended to be mailing lists. They're intended for people to come in and give their name and address and be checked off. And all the people that are there on the list that are no longer living in the area or are deceased, it doesn't matter because they're not going to come in, they're not going to vote. So unless you have organized vote fraud where someone has that list, it doesn't matter that the lists are not completely accurate. They should be accurate, but it's not critical that they're not. But now if we're going to use it as a mailing list, and we're going to mail a valid, votable ballot to each of those names that are on the list, it matters a lot that the lists are not up to date and not accurate. And every county, I think, in California is going to have this same problem. It's a mess in Los Angeles. And there's 5.6 million registered voters in Los Angeles County. There are probably not 5.6 million eligible people living in LA County still. Lots of people have left. And the same thing that you're hearing there, we're hearing here in LA, people who haven't lived at the address in 10 years getting a ballot sent to them. This is just a mess. And if there are people out there who are in the mood to go picking them up in mailboxes and voting them, well, the standards for verifying signatures in the state of California have been loosened up by emergency regulation by the Secretary of State. So there's pretty much no way that they can disallow a ballot by signature. They have to get something like 2 other election officials to review it to see if they're really going to disallow it. Well, when you've got millions of ballots coming in a short period of time, that's just not going to happen. That's just not practical. So what they're going to do is they're going to just accept the ballots, and they're going to count the ballots. And if they're not legitimate signatures, well, we're not going to have a legitimate election. And it'll be very difficult to ever prove that that happened. I suppose we could do some kind of an audit after the fact and say, show me the list of how many people you think voted in this election, and then we could call them randomly, and we could say, did you vote in this election? And, we'll get the recording on the telephone line saying, this number is disconnected. There's no one here by that name. It's going to be kind of a mess.
Yeah, time is kind of short today, but I wanted to get to that because tell them about the $35 million vote contract, Alex Padilla of California and Joe Biden.
I am not hearing you, Roy. Can you still hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. You got a copy on me now? Did I drop?
Can you plug something back in? I can't hear you.
Of that. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Yes. No, just for that, tell them about the $35 million contract, Alex Padilla and Joe Biden.
This is outrageous. This is outrageous. The Secretary of State decided that he was going to give a $35 million contract for voter education, voter outreach to a consulting firm. Now, the counties all have communications departments, and the state has a communications department, but no, they're going to hire a consultant. And he gave a $35 million secret contract, no one had seen the details, to a firm that is aligned with Joe Biden. The managing director of the firm is a senior advisor on the Biden campaign. So what this contract called for was doing commercials and targeted voter outreach, particularly to people who were voting by mail for the first time and people who did not speak English as their first language. And I would be willing to bet that if you lined up the mailing list and the targeting list of this group with the list for any Democratic paid get out the vote effort would be identical. So this is a $35 million Democratic get out the vote effort with taxpayer dollars. Now, there was apparently no authorization for this in the state budget, so lawyers are looking at it to see if it's valid. And I have heard a report that the state controller has canceled the contract, but I can't confirm that. So I'm not sure where it stands exactly, but there's absolutely going to be more on this story coming up. We certainly cannot have taxpayer dollars used for partisan purposes.
Yes, it is, and it's absolutely fantastic. Susan, Shelley, you got 30 seconds. Tell them why they should join HJTA.
Oh, it's so important this year with this big election and these tax increases on the ballot. It's so important that you know what's going on. So join HJTA, Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, the most influential taxpayer advocacy group in California. Strengthen the voice of taxpayers. HJTA.org. You can join. You can find ballot information at that website and lots of information about taxes and everything else that's really important if you're going to keep living in California, which I hope you are. I am, and we're going to fix this state.
You got it. Thanks for being on. We'll do it
Thanks,
again
Susan.
next week.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Roy.
Susan,
We had a couple people write in about how Joseph made a joke about how dogs get to vote, and then this guy wrote in right underneath saying that his dog got a ballot.
Yeah. There's
Dogs are seriously getting ballots.
I've some of the stories that have been coming in are like incredible on this whole
Wow.
on this whole thing.
I wonder if my dog will get a ballot.
He probably will. That pull up. We want to give you an update on we had Assemblymember Kevin Kiley, California legislator, on there along with James Gallagher, is suing the governor on his executive emergency orders and all that. And this is what he's posted on his blog as of the yesterday meeting, as of 9 a.m. this morning, meaning yesterday. We faced off with Gavin Newsom's attorneys at the Sutter County Superior Court. I think it went well. A ruling is expected by the end of the week. We weren't alone. Patriotic Californians from all across the state gathered at the courthouse there. After dispensing with some motions and admissibility of evidence, the judge ruled in our favor. I presented the argument of our dispositive motion. Here's how I describe the aristocratic power of Newsom consumed. It's a form of power that was conspicuously rejected by the framers of the Constitution. U.S. Constitution has been heroically resisted by every generation since. Though every conceivable natural or man-made disaster or calamity. Today, we ask the court to restrain a form of power that exalts the will of one man above all of our sacrosanct founding documents, above the carefully outlined institutions of the law itself. Here's Kevin Kiley's deal. He said first the judge could grant the motion for the governor, which would let him wiggle out. Second, they could grant it in their favor, which they win. Third, the judge could rule that the case cannot be decided on the motions, and we move ahead with the October 31st trial. One thing is clear, in the wake of the Michigan Supreme Court decision, the governor is very worried about the whole Emergency Services Act being declared unconstitutional. The judge quickly swatted down his one argument for why California law is different from Michigan's. If this were to happen, it would invalidate all his emergency orders. His lawyers are so worried they even asked to be able to immediately appeal the act if it is declared unconstitutional. While
1 minute.
This is not the most
Hi,
probable
Sean.
initial
Hi,
outcome
Stephanie.
of the case, it is on the table. After hearing the Assemblyman Gallagher and I had a chance to briefly address the folks at the courthouse. So there you go. We're waiting for the judge's decision. Does it go to trial? Is he going to grant the motion to Newsom or that? But there you have it. There's the update. If we get a ruling by tomorrow's show, we will definitely bring it to you on the deal on the show here. So
30 seconds.
there we go. We wanted to give you that. We wanted to give you that update on that before the end of the deal, and I smoked it in there pretty good. Huh?
Did anybody catch any of that while you were running through it?
All right, guys,
Okay.
here we go.
It looks good.
Go to AMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. on the radio 1490 KMET, broadcasting all over the Southern California airwaves, and joining us from the Live at 5 audience that catches us on IE Newswire, both on Facebook and
on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and go to your Play Store and download the KMET 1490 app for all your Android and Apple devices.
And we're all coming to you on a
Thirsty Thursday!
There you go on that.
Sorry, I did you on that one.
Yes, you just so like you
I did.
blowed me out of the water on that one, which is fine. We're cool. No, it was a big day. We went through the Harris-Kamala debate, and that's what I'm calling her. That's what she is. That's how she got her political career.
No.
And she's on
You
top of that,
can't do that.
she's a lying sack of blank about the fracking and practically everything else. And I don't know, you just that smug attitude, condescending look, giggly appearance of that. She's a no talent, no nothing. And the only way she could have succeeded was be in California, where the voters are completely nuts of electing ding-dongs like this.
I didn't. So what is she right now? What is her title? What is her?
She's a United States Senator from the state of California.
I knew that.
And Vice Presidential nominee of the
I know that
Democratic
part.
Party for President of the United States.
I've never heard of her before.
How's that? Pretty good. She was a former Secretary of State, and as we said, she swallowed her way to the San Francisco City Attorney's job by being the Kamala Ho to Willie Brown on the deal. Lots of stuff coming up on that. We got a few. We're going to have Jennifer Van Laar back on that to talk about Newsom's tree canopy and stuff and blah blah. The
tree canopy.
Yes. One thing I wanted to do. Nancy Pelosi, and I haven't heard it. This is a quick clip. 25th Amendment. That's as if something's wrong with the president or something. That's sets in place if there's president.
Really quick, Joseph writes in Obama.
Yeah. And if the president is incapacitated, the vice president takes over and does that. This is Nancy Pelosi yesterday making noises about that. Here we go.
Tomorrow, by the way, come here tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment, but not to take attention away from the subject we have now.
The 25th, well, what is there to talk about the 25th Amendment? President Trump is not incapacitated. He's not resigning. He's not doing anything. What is this nutcase up here talking about?
Is her mask oranges?
Yeah, I don't know. So it's probably the Halloween one that we're not going to get because of dingbats like this. Pull up number 4 of that, of keeping us on. What's Sean yelling at us about?
I don't know, right?
Of that. No, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what she's getting at on this whole deal. But here we go. Now this is the one I posted this today on this. This is our idiot. How do you like the picture?
Oh, it came out bad.
That's kind of what it was supposed to look like.
It's supposed
because
to come out
he's
like
an
that?
idiot, as it says. This is what California Governor Gavin Newsom, the clown, posted on his Office for California Governor Twitter page. Going out to eat with members of your household this weekend, don't forget to keep your mask on in between bites. Do your part to keep those around you healthy. # stop the spread. Of all these stupid idiotic...
How the hell are you supposed to go and eat and then put a mask? What the hell's the point? At that point, what is the point?
What have they told you? Don't touch your face. Don't touch... And the mask is... If you have coronavirus, that mask is full of it.
Right.
And you got to touch it how many...
And then you already...
How many times to go back? And they've told you not to touch your face. That's how you'll spread it. And he's telling you to take a bite, put some food in your mouth, put your mask back on, chew your food, take the mask back off, put the food in your mouth, chew it, put the mask back on. How many times are you going to be touching your face in your mask? And if there was, that's like a big middle finger to you.
That is like to go out and try to enjoy finally a restaurant with your family, and then you're going like this the entire time.
On top of that, that's
not to mention all the food you're going to spill on your mask, and then the breakout that's going to happen after that.
Yeah, again, it's like a big. Oh, I can tell you what to do. I can treat you as less than a 3-year-old. I'm going to tell you how and when and how to eat. I'm going to tell you how to shart your pants like Nadler did, and whatever. I mean, I don't know if that isn't number one. That is 1A of the most absurd statement a politician or position or anything any politician has ever posted. Tell me I'm wrong. Yes, the screaming goat is back, and deservedly so. Because there is nothing as stupid as that.
Joseph said his stubborn wife finally signed the petition. Thank you, stubborn wife. Stephen writes in, she was talking about just in case Biden gets elected to go back to Pelosi. That's what she was referring to.
Yeah. Why couldn't she said that when she did it? I mean that's, if you're going to bring that up. I mean, just to even mention that is you're just trying to stir the pot on this whole deal. Wanted to play this one. This is a good one before we bring on Jennifer Van Laar. Guy was down on his luck, didn't have nothing. Pretty much, he's living out of a trailer with no power. Yada yada yada. His truck breaks down. He's being towed on his skateboard to get to work, I think, or something. But Mick Fleetwood of the famed band Fleetwood Mac, which I think somebody probably hasn't heard of, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, I love Fleetwood Mac. Me and my dad used to listen to it all the time.
Here's the short video of that coming up on that, what happened on that whole thing. Yeah, here's the deal. Mick Fleetwood posted it on there, and there he is. Pointing out this man's fight about what he's doing, the dreams of cranberries and hits is different, and then this is what happens on that coming up on the deal. So the guy got a brand new truck from. There's a picture of it. I'm a busy single mom. Yeah, see this stuff. There he goes. They get along with the cranberry juice. They rolled up with a brand new truck for the guy. He got, I think, $10,000.
How cool is that?
He got $10,000 in donations. He gave half of it to his mom, who's down in her luck. He turned on the power on his trailer, or his motorhome that he's living in the driveway or something of that. So that was a nice story. I thought we would roll through there on there just to maybe brighten
just to put a smile on your guys' faces.
Yes.
And Stephen was just kidding about that comment. He was testing you.
Of what?
That she said that just in case Biden wins. He was trying to get you.
He's trying to get me to.
Good job, Stephen. I'm proud.
He's trying to get me to tee off on there. No, it would. No, I wouldn't.
Keep him calm,
I haven't
please.
heard, and I looked for it, but I didn't look real hard. But I didn't, because she said wait till tomorrow, which she did that yesterday, so that's today. And I haven't heard any update on what she was getting at on the 25th Amendment on that, because the president is not. There's no reason that we need to. That the president is not able to execute the duties of his office going on here. So that's it. And that's why I brought the idiot hair gel one up there on the deal of that, because not only of the absurd thing that he put on his bite deal, as you're seeing that as I'm playing the idiot thing about the mask, but he had a whole deal of coming on. We talked about it a little bit yesterday of moving the goalpost, of how we're almost to the criteria level of where he's at. He called for 5%. He said if we got 5% below positivity rate, we'd start opening up. I think it's almost 2%. We would be in the yellow. Mind you, Gavin Newsom says we have no green in his criteria. Even though nationally on the stuff of the post he did on Tuesday or Wednesday on his press conference, we were in the green, along with Arizona and Florida, everything else. And he's moving the goalposts. Now that our positivity rate is almost at the point of the lowest generation he's got, close to 2%, now he's moving the goalposts, and you won't believe what he has come up with now. But to clue us all in on this, on the whole thing, we're going to welcome back Jennifer Van Laar of redstate.com. She's a managing editor all around, out here in SoCal of that. One of the sane people left here going on. Welcome to IE Newswire, Stephanie and Roy, Jennifer Van Laar.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about this whole deal going on. I mean, the tree canopy thing was like the coup de grace of this whole thing that Newsom. But he's moving as there's really no crisis in California now. He's moving the goalposts along with you got to put your mask on every time you take a bite on that of that this absurd thing that he's coming up with now. If it isn't clear to everybody, we're never opening up California as long as Newsom's in there. I don't know what it is, but go ahead and take it away. Explain your column in Red State, Jennifer Van Laar.
Well, I will do my best to explain the inexplicable. Like you said, Gavin Newsom moved the goalpost again. We knew whenever, was it a month or two ago, whenever he changed to this never opening, no green system, he took away the emphasis on ventilators and ICU availability because everyone was doing so well in those areas and just moved it to 2 metrics. Well, then when it looked like a bunch of counties were going to start moving down a tier, including my county of Ventura County, he adds this health equity metric. So basically it's saying that a county has to not have a huge disparity in their infection rates between the poorer and the richer census tracts in their county. But those are ranked by the Healthy Places Index. And that takes into account the tree canopy in the census tract, how many alcohol stores there are, whether bars or just liquor stores, how many 2-parent households, and how many people rent or own. And it's just ridiculous because at least Southern California, most of it's a desert. You're in the Central Valley. There's not a whole lot of tree canopy in the farm field. But why does that make it, what does that have to do with you reopening? You know what I mean?
Yes, it's absolutely incredulous of what's going on this whole thing, because I mean, you really the metrics of this stuff. The whole state of California should be opened up by his criteria. Then he just moves the stuff automatically. I mean, moving the goalpost. If this is not the biggest example of that, it's 1A of what's going on in this whole thing. I just want to read this piece from your article in Red State. Yes, a few things that earn the census tract a lower score on HVR number of 2-parent households, the number of people who rent versus own a home, the amount of tree canopy available, retail density, how many people there vote, among the factors not considered crime, vagrancy, drug abuse, and homelessness. Everything that's not relevant is in his new criteria. Everything that's concerning to 99.999% of California residents, he doesn't even consider.
Exactly. And so much of it's just so irrelevant. So for example, at my house, the little area I live in, there's a lot of duplexes, senior housing, apartments, that kind of thing. Right across the golf course from me is a different census tract, but I can see these houses. Their HPI score is 15 points higher in that census tract than mine because a lot of people here rent because it's apartments. So somehow we have a lower quality of life across the golf course from these other people.
Yeah.
Wow.
If that's not the craziest thing, but yeah, they're not taking into account the homelessness, like whether you have to trip over poo on the streets, whether there's a lot of crime. It's insane.
That is.
Yes,
I can't believe that.
It is. And you're going crazy on this whole thing that's out there. I mean, Riverside County, 2.5 million people are approximately like that. If there's a community in 10,000 or 5,000 or 2,000 that has, they don't have, their voting percentages are down, or they don't have enough trees, or whatever, then the whole 2.5 million people of that county cannot open. Am I correct on this?
That's correct. And the funny thing on the one of those other requirements, the alcohol, didn't they keep alcohol establishments like liquor stores open as an essential business during all of this? Because people need to be able to have their alcohol. But if you have too many in your census tract, you're screwed.
Yes. I mean, how are you going to, and even they were at the county. I was at the Riverside County at the Board of Supervisors. Supervisor Jeff Hewitt was trying to get the other 4 or at least 2 others to support him on, let's accelerate this stuff, or and the other 4 said no, and that's, whatever. But that's what they were talking about. Oh, the governor's threatening to take us from red to purple. That means the restaurants that you have to, if you do go into, now Newsom saying you have to put the food in your mouth, then put your mask on and chew it, and then do all this stuff, are going to have to reclose anyway.
But you're not supposed to touch your face while you have the mask on either.
Exactly. How does this work?
Maybe you can bring tongs.
The other part, too, is that they have to make a plan. The county has to make a plan as to how they're going to use all of these grants that they get from the feds on public health to measure all of these equity requirements, and how to put more preventative things in place to keep the health equity, not have a disparity between the rich and the poor. And to be helpful with that, they give them a list of suggested equity-minded vendors. So basically that says to me, this is grift.
Yeah. I mean,
they're just saying, here's our friends you can give the tax dollars to. And you have to have a plan how you're going to reward our vendors before we let you move down a tier.
This is the ultimate power grab of all power grabs of that. Mussolini, if he was sitting here today, would probably be green with envy of what Gavin Newsom is getting away with.
Yeah. And so many people are just going along with it under the guise of public health. And none of this stuff would ever be passed legislatively. That's why he waited until the legislature was out of session to just dictate it.
It's incredulous of what's going on this stuff up and down the board. I mean, if there was ever a reason to be rioting in the streets, and I don't advocate for that, but I mean, this is what people should be. I mean, rioting in the streets about is this madness that keeps going on. I mean, he told Disney and Knott's and all the theme parks, I'm going to be stubborn about you not opening. He said that, used that exact words at his press conference.
He needs to be told no a few times.
Yes.
I mean, what would the man do if someone just looked at him and said no?
He would probably
not scream, whatever, just look and calmly say no. I think he wouldn't know what to do.
And that was exactly this is the short story, crib notes of what I told the supervisors. I asked Sheriff Chad Bianco to deputize all 2.5 million Riverside County residents. We'll stand at the border, and if Gavin Newsom wants to send his goon squads in and close down businesses, he's going to have to come through us. And I told the county supervisors, you should pass an ordinance. If he's threatening to withhold funds, we just won't send you property tax, sales tax, court fine monies, or anything else. Let's get it on.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the Benjamins. And sadly, the people who are being hurt by this are the ones in those impoverished census tracts. They're the ones that need the reopening more. They need the school open to have their kids be able to go to school and be educated. And they don't have the financial advantages that some of these other parents do to hire a tutor or do something else when schools are closed.
It is. I mean, it's crazy of what's going on. And not that I advocate to it, but, you push people to the ends of their limits, or like I've said, the most dangerous any living thing is someone who doesn't have nothing to lose. And if they keep getting a majority of us that don't have nothing to lose, pray tell, the situation could get ugly across the board and get ugly real fast.
It really could, because people, if they get to the point where they don't see any hope, some people are going to go more of the choosing to take themselves out of this earth realm, and other people are just going to go out and try to fight for what they need to have to live.
It is. It's absolutely. I mean, we got to keep up on this battle, and I appreciate the great reporting you've done on this and many other things, and all of your crew does at Red State, because up and coming the presidential election too, but California needs some major overhauls in here. And if we don't get them real soon, I'm afraid of what's going to happen. But thanks a lot for being on, Jennifer, Van Laar. We'll have you on again.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was Jennifer Van Laar of Red State on that going back and forth.
Stephen writes in, should there be an interstate law that prevents patrons from other states traveling so they don't spread the virus?
They kind of talked about that.
They had it for a minute, didn't they?
Yeah, there was
tried.
like talk about it going on, but I don't think anybody wanted to pull the trigger on that. I do. Well, let's put it this way: the only one that's kind of done something like that is Hawaii, where if you go into Hawaii, you are quarantined for 14 days.
I think a lot of states did that though. Florida did. New
York
York did.
I don't think they quarantined
they
anybody
did
for
14 days.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yep.
But that's as close as they've gotten to.
Which, I mean, that kind of makes sense a little bit, but.
For what? I mean,
but then it's like, why the hell even travel?
Well,
Go and sit in a hotel room for 14 days?
Exactly. I would have said that maybe in the beginning when, again, you could have made that case in the beginning of when coronavirus coming. We don't know what's going on, da-da-da-da-da. We have we've had practically almost a year of this.
Right. Oh my gosh.
We know.
It'll be a year in like March, huh?
Well, no,
March,
really.
what?
No, we started hearing about it. It's the
We started hearing about it in January.
In November, yeah. At the end of November is when it started. The rumblings started coming out of China. But, nobody was paying.
When did the plane land? Was that December?
It was either late February or early March.
Wow, my time is way off.
Yeah.
I'm not guessing anymore.
Of that. I mean, I guess we could look. I don't know. I think it's about all the time this emergency order stopped and all that stuff. I think it was in February that the plane from I'm almost certain it was after the January 31st travel ban Trump put on China, and then the flight came in from Wuhan, China, and eventually landed at March Air Force Base on top of that, and that was kind of started the ball rolling. March 4th is when Newsom signed his first executive order declaring emergency powers. On March 19th, he signed the executive order to basically lock down the state. Mm-hmm. And we've been on that. Yeah, in California for that, let's say in March, and it's been over 6 months, we have been basically locked down in California, across the board. But I mean, we first heard about this, it started rumbling out just a little bit, or something was going on in China right at the end of November. And then it started hitting, in Italy or Europe right around into December 1st of the year. So like I say, we're coming up on a year.
That's crazy.
Of this whole thing. I mean, 6 months of just, almost.
But I wonder if another governor comes in, say we recall Gavin, someone comes in, can they just wipe out everything he did?
Executive or presidents, governors, the next
What do you mean presidents? Trump could have erased all this crap and he hasn't?
Well, I'm just talking about executive orders. Okay. And that's what the new president, the new governor can issue. He can wipe out all the ones that have come before that. He can just, it's a power that's invested in usually the chief elected official, whether it be governor or president of the United States. It allows him, and it's supposed to be for doing things that have already been approved or are legal, and it allows him in a emergency. Let's say California had the big 8.5 earthquake or something, and there's mass destruction and devastation. So he has the emergency powers, executive orders to either declare martial law or you can't go in this area because it's dangerous, or wildfires or whatever, which are legitimate.
Right.
There are times legitimately when you need to use that power. It's been abused, in my opinion, to go through all that stuff. So in the case of that, but it is a legit power that they all, you're either your governors or that, and even like mayors. I don't think they call.
See, but I think like how you were saying too, I think that he's throwing like a little fit. He's throwing a tantrum because he knows that people are pissed off and he can't.
Yes.
I'm totally seeing it now. It sucks. I want to go slap him.
Wow.
He is though with the, what did he say? That they're not throw fit when they shut down Disney.
Oh, he's going to be
Not
stubborn
shut down.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
He's
Who
gonna
the
be
hell says that?
Gavin Newsom.
And that is stupid.
Exactly. Why do you think I put the acronym up there? Let me see.
What are you doing, buddy?
Yes, put it back up. That's why we put the sign up there. Is he not an idiot? I mean, this one takes
That
the
is
cake.
like, yeah, that is, and then hashtag slow the spread
Yeah.
on your bread because you're bored. 'Cause you can't even eat.
Wow, you're becoming a comedian.
I am. I've been taking classes.
Yeah.
No, not really. I haven't. Self-taught.
Well, that's even better yet. What else you got to do? You can't hardly do anything.
Right.
You got to humor yourself.
Ooh, but can we open like our own little restaurant?
Yeah, so Gavin Newsom can close it down.
Well, like in the backyard or something.
Well, I mean,
Junkyard studio.
That's basically what they're
Junkyard
trying
studio
to
dining.
do. There you go.
What?
You imagine they'd send. I could see the National Guard, the Highway Patrol,
No.
State Police, or whatever coming out.
Hey, we'll feed them. And no masks are allowed.
Yes, zero mask. We detest masks.
We do. We'll burn them.
Yes, we'll burn masks in it. That's a good idea.
It'll be a nice
we'll
warm.
burn
It'll add the warmth to your
Yes.
evening while you dine.
Burn mask in effigy.
Dun dun dun. What the hell are we talking about? I forgot.
Hell if I know.
I don't know either.
We're getting on it.
Wow, what a show this was.
It is. Well, it's been a thirsty Thursday of that, and I hope we filled your thirst with the knowledge and stories and stuff you get nowhere else, and the guests you won't hear hardly anywhere else on that. But so until tomorrow on a Fast Friday,
We're gone.
The proceeding was a paid program.